Let's do off-plan properly, start to finish, how you actually verify a project's legit before you put money down, what the SPA is and what Oqood actually means, where your payments actually go during construction, cash versus financing, what happens at handover, and because a lot of you ask me this, exactly how to do all of it from outside the country, including a much faster way to handle your power of attorney than most people realize exists. Full off-plan journey, right order. Off-plan works differently from resale right from the start. There's no Form A here because there's no private seller. You're buying straight from a developer. Listings come from developer launch events, developer sales offices, or brokers who've been authorized to sell that specific project. Before you put a single dirham down, two things to check. First, the project's RERA registration number, which you can verify on the DLD website or the Dubai REST app. Second, confirm the developer actually has an approved escrow account for this specific project. That's not optional, that's the law. If a developer can't show you both of these, walk away. Doesn't matter how good the renders look. Once you've picked a unit, floor view, layout, you reserve it with a booking fee. Usually somewhere between 5 and 10% of the purchase price. The developer issues what's called an expression of interest or a booking form at this stage. Then comes the real contract, the SPA, the sales and purchase agreement. This is the off-plan equivalent of Form F. It sets out the price, the full payment schedule, the expected completion date, the unit specifications, and what happens if either side doesn't deliver. Read this one carefully, or better, have a property lawyer look at it. Not legally required, but for a contract this size, it's worth the fee. This is the document that protects you for the next 2 or 3 years until handover. Once the SPA is signed, the developer registers it with DLD through a system called Oqood. That's Arabic for contracts, and it's the official interim record of your purchase before the building's even finished. This has to happen within 90 days of signing. You'll pay a registration fee, around 4% of the property value plus some smaller admin charges, and once it's processed, you get an Oqood reference number. That number is what proves your interest in that unit is officially on record with the government, not just with the developer's internal sales system. Always confirm your Oqood registration actually went through. You can check it yourself through the Dubai REST app. This is the part that makes off-plan in Dubai genuinely safer than a lot of other markets. Your payments don't go to the developer directly. They go into a project-specific escrow account. That account is monitored and funds only get released to the developer in stages. As independent inspectors, verify constructions actually hit each milestone. So if a developer stalls or underdelivers, your money's still sitting in escrow, not already spent on a different project. This is exactly why checking that escrow account exists matters so much. Payment plans vary by project. Common structures look like 20% at booking, smaller installments through construction, and the rest at handover. Some are even split with a chunk due after handover on a post-handover plan. Every installment is tied to a construction milestone, not just the calendar date. So if construction runs ahead or behind, your next payment can shift too. Always get the actual milestone schedule from your SPA, not just the marketing summary, so you know exactly when each payment's coming. If you're paying cash through the payment plan, this is fairly straightforward. You pay each installment as it's due through the project escrow, and that's it until handover. If you're financing, it works a little differently than resale. Banks are more cautious lending against a property that doesn't exist yet, so financing usually becomes available either partway through construction or specifically for post-handover payment plans. Get pre-approved early regardless, so you know your numbers, but don't be surprised if the bank wants the project further along before they fully commit funds. Either way, your financing structure runs in parallel with the construction timeline. Once construction's complete and your final payments made, you go through handover. The developer will invite you for a snagging inspection, checking the unit for defects, finishes, anything that doesn't match what was promised in the SPA. Don't skip this. Document everything. Get the developer to commit to fixing issues in writing. Once handover is complete and everything's settled, the Oqood interim record converts into your actual title deed, registered permanently with DLD. That's the moment you officially, fully own the unit. For the whole process, valid passport, Emirates ID if you're a resident. At reservation, your booking form or EOI. At SPA stage, the signed SPA. And proof of funds for your deposit. If financing, pre-approval letter, income documents, bank statements. Keep every receipt tied to every installment payment. Those become your evidence trail if there's ever a dispute about what's been paid. Now, buying off plan from outside the UAE, is actually easier than people assume. You still use a power of attorney to appoint someone to sign on your behalf. But here's what's changed. You don't necessarily need the old route anymore, where you'd notarize at home, then chase your foreign ministry, then the UAE embassy, then the UAE's own Ministry of Foreign Affairs. That route still exists and still works if you need it. But there's a faster path now. UAE notaries offer remote online notarization. You do a video call with a UAE-based notary public, verify your identity, sign electronically, and the POA gets notarized digitally, often the same day, sometimes within 24 hours. No travel, no embassy queue, no weeks of waiting. This online route is officially recognized. Artais, it's not some workaround. Same rule as always, only hand that authority to someone licensed and accountable. Once it's done, your representative can sign the SPA, manage the payment plan, attend the trustee appointment at handover, and collect the title deed, all without you flying in, because it's real legal power over a real transaction. So that's the off-plan journey, verifying the project and the escrow, the SPA, Oqood registration, and handover. Between this and the secondary market video, you've now got the full picture, whichever way you end up buying. Follow if you want more of these broken down properly.